When two walk together, but their steps no longer match, is it still unity, or silent struggle? In a world where strength is worn like armor, and kindness mistaken for weakness, love can begin to fray beneath the surface. This is the story of Tom and Stacey, two people, one home, but hearts on different roads. What happens when love alone isn't enough to carry the weight of expectation? Welcome to Grace&Grit TV, where story speaks, and hearts are healed. Watch to the end for insights, reflection moments, and next steps. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Let's dive into the story.
Episode 7. Unequally Yoked. Tom sat at the edge of the bed, shoulders hunched, untying his shoelaces slowly, more from exhaustion than fatigue. His jacket was still slung over the armchair. The house was spotless, the dining table neatly set, yet untouched. Stacey's voice drifted from the bathroom, sharp and clear. "You could at least tell me when you're coming home late. I'm not your maid," he sighed. "I texted. You didn't reply." "Texted?" she scoffed, stepping into the room, her silk robe flowing behind her. "Texting is for acquaintances, Tom. I'm your wife." He looked up at her, his eyes weary. "You weren't always this cold." She raised a perfectly sculpted brow. "I wasn't always this neglected." There it was again, that twist. Somehow, the blame always circled back to him. Their differences ran deeper than communication. Tom had grown up in a modest, faith-driven home where partnership meant serving each other, listening, and choosing humility even when one felt wronged. Stacey, on the other hand, believed in power, prestige, and public image. Her idea of love was laced with performance, how well he fit into her mold of success. She resented his soft-spoken nature, his preference for quiet prayer over public spectacle, his belief in mutual submission instead of control. She wanted a man who would take command. He wanted a woman who would walk beside him. They were both drowning in expectations neither could fully voice. Tom tried. He offered to pray with her at night. He suggested attending a marriage seminar together, but she refused. "You're too spiritual for my liking. Live a real life. Be human for once," she snapped. "Maybe if you put half that energy into being more assertive, we wouldn't be having problems." Tom felt his spirit shrinking daily. He couldn't argue. He'd been taught not to. Conflict was something to be endured in prayer, not fought in the open. At work, he was respected. In church, admired. But at home, he was invisible. Stacey, meanwhile, flourished outside their home, leading women's initiatives, managing corporate projects, admired for her confidence and bold speech. Her friends envied her. But they didn't know that Tom slept many nights on the couch, not out of anger, but for peace. Long before Stacey became the woman who controlled conversations with her husband and silenced his emotions with sarcasm, she was a little girl watching her mother survive. Not live, survive. Her father was the kind of man people called a provider. He was respected, wealthy, and feared in their upscale community. But behind the gates of their polished home, his words cut like knives. Every mistake her mother made was magnified in public. Every emotion dismissed as weakness. Stacey learned early that tears were for fools. Those emotions made you vulnerable. That silence was safer than an apology. Her mother had served her father with quiet devotion. Meals always ready. Home always spotless. Lips always sealed. "This is what a good wife does," her mother would whisper through swollen eyes, folding laundry with trembling hands. And so, Stacey grew up confusing fear with respect, dominance with authority, and emotional distance with power. At school, she excelled. Not because she wanted to impress her teachers, but because it was her only place of control. She was loud when others were quiet, fearless when others hesitated. She was praised for being bold, strong, and unshakable. By the time she entered university, she'd already made up her mind. No man will ever talk down to me the way my father did to my mother. She built walls, not fences, walls, decorated with degrees, style, influence, and charm. To the world, she was magnetic. But behind closed doors, she needed to win. Every disagreement was a battlefield. Every mistake from Tom is a threat to her control. Because deep down, she still heard her mother's voice. Keep quiet. Don't provoke him. Just serve him, and maybe it will get better. Stacey had vowed never to be that woman. And in doing so, she became the very opposite, so hardened that she couldn't recognize love unless it looked like submission to her will. When Tom showed her kindness, she called it weakness. When he opened his heart, she called him too soft. When he offered grace, she saw it as a challenge to her power. She didn't know how to trust softness, because softness never protected her mother. One night, as she scrolled through old family photos, she paused at a picture of her younger self beside her mother. Both were dressed in white lace, smiling through tired eyes. Her mother had died of high blood pressure. The doctors called it hereditary. Stacey knew better. She closed the album, her throat tight. For the first time in a long time, she whispered her name. Mummy. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was echoing, with all the things they never said, all the healing they never had.
They smiled in public, but a silent war raged within. He yearned for peace, she fought for control. And though they wore the rings, they walked alone. But even in uneven steps, there is a chance to pause and choose a new rhythm. The journey isn't over, it's only shifting. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts and comments. Do well to like, share and subscribe for weekly episodes on real-life stories of everyday people. Grace&Grit TV. Healing. Hope. Relationship.